What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another Insecticon that we need to be taking a little bit of a look at. Now, we thought that Insecticons were coming back in the new set, in War for Cybertron Siege 2. And to be fair, right, we were told that Insecticons were coming back. Well, we've not had a huge amount. We've only actually had one. But we've got Chop Shop now, so you know what? We've at least got something to play with. So Raider Chop Shop then, if we start off having a look at it as a 7-cost character, which is slightly on the cheap side, but then again Insecticons tend to be cheap anyway. In terms of stats, we've got attack of 4 or 5, which is good for a 7-cost. Health of 11, which is alright, and defense of 1, which is lower than we would like. Overall, for a 7-cost, the stats are quite nice, so you know, yay. Now, as with a lot of these, it really is the skills that's going to make or break this. In bot mode, when this attacks and you flip at least one green icon card, repair 1 damage from this. And this really comes down to whether you can keep this dude alive. It really is as simple as that. If you can keep him alive, if you can keep him on the field, if he's still rocking and rolling, you might have a particularly nice time here. But the fact of the matter is, you're 11 health, you're 1 defense, you're not talking the weakest, easiest to KO character that we've ever seen, but nor are we talking the beefiest, baddest, sticking aroundest character that we've ever seen. Certainly, we've got stuff like Scrapnel from Wave 1 that really is at the heart of a lot of these Insecticon decks, and that can only take a certain amount of damage, so that's quite nice. And I think that's probably where you want to go with this. Now, obviously, you can't make it Scrapnel, that would be absurd, but like so many cards over the years, I say years, the game's been out for 1 year and 1 month, almost exactly. Force Field. Force Field guarantees that you take a maximum of 4 damage, and at that stage, I'm kind of liking this a lot more. Because if you're only taking 4 damage, and then you can start healing it off, hopefully getting another Force Field on, then we can potentially get into this. Or maybe we play a bit more of a defensive deck, and maybe from there, we can start going, alright, I'm not being KO'd, now the healing can come in. The one other Insecticon we've actually seen so far from Wave 4, and we've had all the characters revealed, so this is it, is Kickback. And in bot mode, Kickback wants to flip at least 1 blue icon, so we're going a little bit defensive. And in alt mode, when you defend, you flip 1 more battle card for each Insecticon that was on your starting team, so again, we want to go a little bit more defensive. And maybe that's the answer here. Maybe we're trying to go a little bit defensive and a little bit healing. Now, of course, defensive and healing is not what we've really come to expect. In Wave 1, Insecticons were let's go as orange as we can, let's smash. Having said that, we had 1 Insecticon back in Wave 3 and it was Sergeant Scrapnel. And when an upgrade is scrapped from one of your characters, repair 1 damage from this. And that again had very, very similar stats, by which I mean it had the exact same stats, except it had 1 more defense in alt mode. Other than that, it was exactly the same. So you know what? Maybe this is just a new way to play Insecticons. Maybe we're going to be going a little bit more defensive, a little bit more healing. You're still talking not particularly beefy characters, and that does make me, apprehensive, I think would be a polite way to put it. Because you know what? What if it doesn't work? I mean, certainly if you're against a traditional Insecticon team that's looking to smash, or any real orange deck, you might not hold out so well. Force Field and defensive will save you a lot of the time, but it's far from guaranteed. Now, if we have a quick look at alt mode here, when you flip to this mode, you may scrap a green icon card from your hand. If you do, repair 1 damage from each of your characters. If the scrapped card has no other battle icons, repair 1 more damage from each of your characters. So okay, in bot mode you're repairing 1, in alt mode, when you flip to it, you can be just repairing 2 damage from each of your characters. Now, in order to do so, you have to scrap a card that only has green icons and no others. I'll give you some examples of this in a moment. But you know what? That's ridiculous. That's really good. But it doesn't do anything to push us away from a defensive healing style deck. That seems to be very, very much where we're going with this. As a quick side note, one of the just green icon cards we actually got in Wave 2 was Rest and Relaxation that repairs 1 damage from one of your characters. Of course, if you're playing around and doing a whole bunch of healing with this anyway, maybe Rest and Relaxation could be pretty good. We also had a bit of the old Sonic Scramble, whereby when you play it, your opponent scraps a card from their hand, and if you play 3 at the same time, you draw 3. When you play 1, you can play another. So I don't know, maybe we can go a bit of hand disruption and get some drawing going on as well here. Problem is, if you go too deep into just playing green icons, then you're not playing any blue to help you defend, and you're not playing any orange to help you attack, etc, etc. So, I don't know. The good news is, right, in alt mode, you just need to have a green icon card in hand. Now, in bot mode, you do need to flip a green icon card, but you only need to flip 1 card that's got 1 green icon. And here's the other thing, right? Let's remember that green icon cards essentially say, when you flip while attacking or defending, at the end of the battle you may swap a card in your hand for a green icon card you flipped during the battle. So it's not like you've got to draw into one of these green icon only cards for Raider Chop Chop before you flip yourself into alt mode. You just need to make sure that you stash a card in your hand at some point, which is going to be easy to do. So it's actually going to be very, very easy to make sure that you are firing with Raider Chop Chop's ability here. And that's kind of awesome. Now, one thing I like here is that you are a melee character, and I really like the idea of opening yourself up here to body armor. Remember, we're trying to keep these guys alive so that we can heal. Okay, yes, I know it's got an orange icon, but it also gives you tough 3. I love tough 3. Tough 3 is brilliant. Of course, the other thing which you could play around with a little bit here is superior plating and tech research. Superior plating gives you tough 4, but it must be played after a tech research. But tech research is a card that has just 1 green icon, which means that you can essentially stash it for Chop Chop's ability or use it to play superior plating. Superior plating doesn't have a green icon, so you do have to draw into it in the traditional manner. But if you just keep flipping it while attacking or defending, you can at least use the tech research to do the healing, and it's why I love it as a combo with Chop Chop. Generally speaking, you can always get tech research in your hand because it's got a green icon, but you run the risk of constantly just flipping superior plating while attacking or defending and never getting to use it. Well, at least here, tech research will work in terms of just giving you a card that you can use to fire Chop Chop's ability. Now, you are also an Insecticon, and actually, this is one of those things where we are going to love Swarm. Now, again, Swarm has an orange icon, boo, hiss, etc., but you flip a battle card for each Insecticon with which you began the game, and for each blue you flip, you repair 1 damage from one of your characters. And to be honest with you, right, between Swarm and Chop Chop and Sergeant Scrapnel, you've actually got a really nice amount of healing here. And you've actually got cheeky damage with Raider Kickback as well. Now, if we're thinking this is somewhat of a new Insecticon style deck, and I'm not necessarily sure that we're there yet, incidentally, but essentially you've got Scrapnel as a 9 cost, Kickback as a 6 cost, and Chop Chop as a 7 cost. That essentially puts you at 22 stars. 6 and 7 is 13, add the 9 is 22. So you don't really have space for any other characters. So we do have a new Insecticon deck here. You are not playing this as a hyper aggro deck like you did before. You are playing this as a defensive healing deck firing off a little bit of cheeky damage. Remember, Swarm can get cheeky damage as well. Is it going to be as good as the old Insecticons? I'm not convinced personally. But having said that, it's got to be worth a try, right? Insecticons are back, but they might not be as good as before. Incidentally, I would love it if they did. I want me a healing deck. Yay, healing! Actually, quick side note, if we're going to be mentioning healing a lot, he's not an Insecticon, but we do have to give a quick shout out to Ratchet here. Ratchet is all about the healing. In alt mode, you start with a medic in your hand, which is quite nice for, healing too. And then in bot mode, when you repair damage, Ratchet gets +1 attack until end of turn for each damage repaired. So if you're going to be healing with a whole bunch of your Insecticons here, you can just be boosting Ratchet over and over and over. So maybe take out kickback pop in Ratchet? Could be awkward, but I kind of like it. And as another quick side note, there is a battle card which is going to be coming along in War for Cybertron Siege 2, Wave 4, which is Reprocess. It's got a green icon and it reads, scrap an upgrade from any character, repair 2 damage from that character. Now, first of all, this fits the whole healing motif we've got going on here. Second of all, it's clearly got an Insecticon on the artwork. And third of all, it does actually have just a green icon. So that's going to work really nice with Chop Shop. But that might actually have already been upstaged, because one of the final cards revealed from Wave 4 today is Toolbox, which again only has a green icon. Chop Shop's like, yeah! But it reads, if damage would be repaired from the upgraded character, instead repair that much damage +1. So you whack a Toolbox on any of the characters we've been talking about today, and you repair them in any way, whether it's for their own ability, someone else's ability, another card, etc., you get to repair an extra damage. This, ladies and gentlemen, very, very nice indeed. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what you think about this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, that's where we talk about games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.